As said, I'm Todd Winfield. I've been with Rutherford County Fire Department for 6 years. I've been with Wilson County for a year now. Today we're going to go over fire hose construction. Stuff like the types of fire hose, what fire hoses are made out of, different types of couplings, stuff like that. The objectives today are describe how fire hoses are constructed, and then also we're going to go over self-locking twin donut hole. That skill at the end of the presentation. All information in this presentation has been taken out of the Jones Bartlett Firefighter Skills 2nd edition. Fire hose construction. Everybody might be like, why do we need to know about how fire hoses are constructed, stuff like that. It'll help with knowing what your fire hose can do and what it can't do. Knowing its limitations of what you can take it in and what you can't take it in. Fire hose constructed of an inner waterproof layer surrounded by 1 or 2 outer layers. So you can have single jacketed or double jacketed. It depends on how many layers of outer jacket you have. The outer layer provides strength and withstands the high pressure that are exerted on the water inside the hose. The outer layer can be constructed with many different materials. You have rubber jacketed or cloth jacketed hose. Most fire hoses in service today is made of a very durable woven mesh of high strength fibers and extra protection, high temps, mildew, and some chemicals. Most fire hoses on most engines today are going to be cloth jacketed hoses. You also have some hoses that are rubber jacketed. Some people use them for bumper lines, trash lines, stuff like that. Just because you don't have to really clean them and wash them, you can just rinse them down and put them up. They're not going to mildew, they're not going to do anything in rubber jacketed hose. Some hoses is double jacketed, like I said before. You can have single jacketed or double jacketed. Just means it has an extra protective layer on the outside of the hose. As I said before, also you can have some rubber jacketed hose, and that's just an outside rubber jacket that's bonded to the inner layer of the fire hose. Inner waterproof liner. Yes, sir.
Never mind, you're going to get to it now.
Okay. Inner waterproof layer. It prevents water from leaking, provides a smooth surface so it creates less friction loss, and it attaches to the outer layer. Basically, you want something very smooth so water has no resistance flowing to the nozzle. Less friction loss means lower pressure at the pump, lower pressure at the nozzle. It's a whole lot easier on your firefighters. The inner liner is usually made of synthetic rubber compound or thin flexible membrane material that can be flaked or folded without developing leaks. In double jacketed hose, the inner liner is bonded to the woven jacket. As I said before, the inner liner, what they do is they put it on a mandrel, and they got a clamp on each end, and they pump hot steam into it and pull it out so there's no kinks. And what it does is that steam activates a resin on the inside of the inner liner, and it's what bonds it to the outer jacket. In rubber covered hose, the inner liner and outer layers are usually bonded together with woven fibers on the inside. Same ordeal, they put it on a long press, long mandrel, and then pump hot air into it, and that's what seats the inner liner with the outer shell, whether it be rubber or cloth hose. So we'll also talk about couplings. So couplings are at the end of each hose, whether it be a 50-foot section or a 100-foot section. Most of the time we'll have, if it's threaded or non-threaded couplings. Non-threaded couplings obviously don't have any threads. Threaded couplings are going to be a male and a female. So these couplings are at the end of any section of hose, whether it be 50 or 100 foot. That's usually how most people say, give me a section of hose. Usually going to have 2 couplings on it. Couplings are used to connect to hydrants, valves, nozzles, pump engines, many different things, fittings, appliances, all kinds of different things.
How does a non-threaded coupling work?
We'll get to that in just a second, sir.
Okay.
So, as I said, a set of threads couplings consists of a male coupling, which is threads on the inside, and a female coupling, which is matching threads on the inside. A female coupling has a swivel on it so that you can twist the male and female together without twisting the hose. Also inside the female coupling, you're on a gasket, so when you're putting up hose, anytime you always want to check the inside of that, make sure it's got a gasket in it, because if you don't charge it, it's going to make a huge mess and leak all kinds of water. So here's threaded couplings. One of the oldest designs involves casting a spiral thread and facing the steepling different couplings. You got a male and a female. So as I said before, Doug, what's the coupling on the left?
That looks like the male coupling.
Alright, and then the right will be be obviously your female couple. That's what most of your hose is, 4 inches and under. Once you get above 4 inches, it'll usually have a different type of coupling.
Never seen a 4-inch thread on it.
Sir?
Never seen a 4-inch hose with a thread on it.
Well, that's usually going to have non-threaded couplings. So that's what we're talking about now. Connecting with locks and cams rather than threads. So to answer your question earlier, instead of threads, they're going to go in and lock together with a cam and a lock line.
Oh.
These non-threaded couplings there are some non-threaded couplings that have male and female ends, although sexless couplings are more prevalent in the U.S. Most name brand is Storks. So it's just 2 couplings that you spin together, quarter turn, lock together. They're great for large diameter hose, anything really, because it's just no time to screw them together. So I have a short video for us to watch.
I don't know, all houses have short stuff on
What this is. We'll watch a short video on how fire hoses are constructed. It'll help put everything that I've talked about and that you think about into actually how they're made.
Firefighting used to consist of passing water buckets hand to hand. The first fire hoses of the 1600s were made of leather, but these hoses were heavy, would crack when dry, and often break open under pressure. Modern firefighting began with the lightweight cotton fire hose, lined with rubber to keep the cotton dry and flexible. Fire hoses come in a range of sizes to fulfill a range of functions, from small, lightweight ones for fighting forest fires to large, heavy-duty hoses for industrial fires. Production begins with hundreds of bobbins of polyester yarn, feeding automated looms a floor above. A series of spring rods keeps the yarns under uniform tension. This is essential to create a tight weave. The factory programs each loom to weave specific patterns which incorporate identifier stripes. This is a visual guide to help workers assemble the fire hose later on. This woven fabric will form the fire hose's exterior called the jacket. It's got to weather some nasty conditions, so they soak it in a plastic polymer solution with dye for color. The liquid encapsulates the fibers, making them durable and water resistant. At another station, they mix granules of polyurethane, a form of plastic, with white coloring and adhesive pellets. This mixture is for making the waterproof tubing that forms the inside of the fire hose. When they activate the adhesive in the mixture with heat, this tubing will bond to the hose jacket fabric. The mixer feeds the ingredients to an extruder, which melts the mixture and forms it into a hollow tube. The tube then passes through a basin of cool water to set the plastic. Next, the tube goes to the inspection table, where an automated printer prints code numbers on it for tracking purposes. To assemble the fire hose, they first pull out an outer hose jacket over a 33-yard long cable. They feed a second untreated hose jacket inside the form.
So, Rand, seeing this, what type of hose is this? Cloth. But if they're putting another jacket in there, what type of hose would this be? Do what? Double jacket, correct.
Oh, I get it. One of those flankers too.
There you go. Elementary stuff.
They attach a cable to the third and innermost layer, the tube, and pull it along the entire length of the double jacket. Once it's all the way through, they trim both ends. The 3 layers, outer jacket, inner jacket, and tube, are now ready to become one. They begin the fusing process by clamping one end of the assembled hose to a steam nozzle. As the clamp holds the hose steady, the nozzle blasts pressurized steam into the tube. At the same time, it moves backward, pulling out any kinks. The hot steam melts the adhesive in the tube material, and it penetrates the inner jacket around it. Once everything's perfectly straight, they pump in cold air to solidify the adhesive. This permanently bonds the layers. They roll up the finished hose into a coil, controlling the winder with the foot pedal. Then they lay the coiled hose on a table to install the couplings. Those are the components that attach the hose to the water supply on one end and to the spray nozzle on the other. They trim each end, and then insert a brass expansion ring, and then an aluminum coupling on top. And expand.
What type of couplings are these?
Thread.
Correct.
What?
Machine
Thread.
makes the rest.
Oh, thread.
They attach the end securely to the machine's protruding bar. Then the bar retracts and expands, pushing the brass ring outward. The force wedges the brass into the aluminum coupling permanently. This company tests
What type of coupling is that?
uses under high pressure on this table.
Section coupling.
After marking the type of hose with the stencil and indelibly ink, they fill the hose with water. They check for holes and kinks and verify that the couplings stay in place. After the test, they drain the water. They insert a giant sponge to get rid of any water left behind. And now these new hoses are ready for their baptism on fire.
It's splooged. That was very informative.
It's like the video.
So got a question.
What's your question?
Why do they only put short stuff on the water side or a hose? Why can't they put it on all of them?
I can't answer that, sir, but I will find the answer for you. I will. I'm not 100% sure. Do you know?
I mean, you can't. It just feels like because it's such an easy design, they put them on everything. Or you wouldn't have to sit there and unscrew stuff.
It could be the cost involved in making, maybe it's higher
Put
cost.
them together and be gone.
You got anything to do it?
Yeah, the smaller you make
Probably
something like that, the more
industry
expensive.
standards because everything's smaller and a 3-inch hose has a thread fitting on it.
Yeah, that's true. Hydrants.
Maybe industry standards.
Industry standards. I will see if I can find a correct answer for you. So as I said before, we're going to be on a self-locking twin donut roll. Some people use it in place of, say, a high-rise pack or to extend hoses. You can use for multiple different things. Basically, you're going to be able to carry a section of hose very easily, put it over your shoulder, carry it like a briefcase, something, and just go wherever you need to go.
Like immerse.
Like a merge, exactly. So, to do this, you're going to take your hose and you're going to bring the coupling side by side so that your hose is running parallel to each other. Then you're going to go back to the other end of the hose and you're going to make a loop, as in the picture right there. And there's going to be an X where your hose crosses to make your loop. You're going to take the end of the loop and bring to where the hose crosses. So you'll have 2 ears on each side. You'll fold it to where you have a good place to start, and you will roll just like you would roll a normal donut roll or storage roll, except you're going to have 2 side by side. Once you get to the end, you're going to take the ears and have one side longer than the other. One side you want just enough to wrap around the rolled hose. So you'll wrap around and put it over the couplings so your couplings don't fall out, don't get scratched, don't get pulled up, nothing like that. And then the other loop you can put over your shoulder, carry it wherever you need to go, do anything you want to with it. It's just a quick, easy way to carry a section of hose without just a normal storage roll. Does anybody have any questions about the self-locking twin donut roll?
It's very messy roll.
Do what?
Doesn't look very neat.
Like I said, it's really just your department's SOPs or SOGs is what they want to use. Personally, I don't see the need in it.
Right, what's the advantage of doing it that way?
It's easy to carry.
It's easier to carry. That's the really only advantage to it versus, say, a Cleveland load or something like that.
Yeah, another advantage
High-rise
is
bags,
if you're putting
you
it,
can carry a bunch of.
if you're adding hose Should have just.
All right.
You can
Trying to help you
just
out.
split it on a couple, and you have both couplings.
Exactly. So you can unroll it just like a twin donut roll. You can unroll it and have both couplings in each hand. Just like a regular donut roll, you can unroll it, have both couplings in each hand to wherever you need to go. That's another advantage to it. Okay. So does anybody have any questions of what we went over today at all? All right. We'll go over.
I do.
Go ahead.
So with a rubber jacketed hose and a cotton jacketed hose, are the insides still all the same and just the
Yes.
outside's different?
Just the outside's different.
Okay. It's all about rubbers.
Any other questions? Okay. So we're going to go over a summary of what we went over today. So fire hose is constructed of an inner and outer layer. Outer layer can be made of many different materials, rubber, cloth. Really, I think that's the main two prominents. I don't know of any other materials that hoses are made out of between cloth and rubber. Outer layer provides protection while inner layer provides smooth waterproof surface. Smooth surface for less friction loss.
They used to be made
Also, we talked about two types of couplings, threaded and non-threaded. Storks, connections, main non-threaded couplings. And we went over the self-locking twin donut rule. Anybody have any other questions?
Nope.
Alright, so now we'll go outside and practice the self-locking twin donut rule.
Is that still on?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going outside?
Do we really have to